bot do the little nervous laugh. Make a comment. Oh shit!
Oh, that's for the better.
No, we're good. We're good. I'm done.
Yeah. So this is next podcast without the bot, and eventually he'll get here.
Yeah, he'll get there. Let's go.
There we go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another next podcast. We had a bumpy road to going live, but guys, we are finally live. We had 2 weeks off. Last time I could remember, besides last night, streaming Blair Witch, it was Gamescom. Inside Xbox opening night live. We were streaming then. Guys, I am in a brand new house, brand new internet service provider, brand new modem, brand new router, and you know what? I think we hit every single bump that we're gonna hit for the night, at least when it comes to the technical standpoint. What is going on, chat? Great to see you guys here. Thank you for sticking it out with us. Yo, if you could do me a favor, first off, you know the drill. Hit that thumbs up button. And second of all, tweet the show out. Put it out there on Twitter. Put it out there on Facebook for anybody who was in here before, who were, when we were going through our technical difficulties. Let them know the show is up. Let them know we are live. And we have a lot to talk about. But first, before we get into the topics, we got to do the intros. And my lights are flickering right now, so I know it is time for everybody in the chat to stand up, show that respect, kiss that ring. The Don!
Man, see, bots' lights were flickering, so you decided to move to a new house, and they still flicker.
They still flicker, man.
So I am the source. So, hey, thanks for having me on. It's been a while. I'm a little rusty. Sorry for not being very smooth this morning. I had a lot going on today, but I am here. Let's talk some games. It's gonna be fun.
I appreciate it, and one of the main reasons why is I believe it was Windows Central came out with an article talking about how they built Gears 5. So, when it came down to it, Don, I definitely wanted to have you on the panel to kind of explain some things, in layman's terms, because we're not all game developers here. So I'm looking forward to you kind of diving in on that, as well as the other topics as well. It's good to have you on again, brother.
Yeah, it feels right. I mean, it's a bummer I can't do it all the time, but once a month's not bad. It's better than nothing, right? So
nice. And I am going to use this time for a personal message. I see O Snaps in the chat. She went out of state for a couple days for work, and yes, lady, I miss you too. And that is going to be on this video forever on YouTube. But next on the list, you guys know him as a Gears fanatic. I know him as an absolute gamer, somebody who is not afraid to share their opinion, and one of the newest members to the next podcast family, Crispy!
What is up? What is up, everybody in the chat? Of course, I'm ecstatic because I've been preaching what I've been saying for a long time, and it has come to fruition, and I can brush my shoulder off and call it a day, baby. Let's go for Gears 5.
He did a little brush the shoulder. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be a great show, guys. Yo, Crispy, I can't wait to talk Gears, but like I said, man, people know you for Gears, but you're an overall gamer as well, so the other topics that we have, I know you're going to share your opinion on it. It's going to be good, man.
Hell yeah, let's go, baby.
Nice. Next on the list, coming live from the 405. And when he's on the next podcast, he's also playing Tekken. K Mega!
Damn right, man. Tekken for the win, the mighty Tekken. And you know what? My first time playing with Negan, and I'm coming in here, man, and I'm serving fools. I enjoy it. I love it. I'll post another thing, man. I just beat this dude like 4 or 5 times in a row. He just wouldn't stop. And then he eventually understood that, look, Negan is messy. and K Mega
Is
is
it
messy.
Negan
So
or is
therefore,
it Lucille though? The bat.
it's Negan. It's Negan Mega with the Lucille bat. That's what's happening. So anyway, no, I'm just having a good time, man. Gaming. Man, man, I'm just excited, man. This is another good show, man. I'm just happy. Let's get it going, man.
it almost feels like the first time we did this, man. It's been a while,
bruh. Yeah, it has been a while. It has been a while, and I'm over here sipping on this Tito, so you don't know what could happen tonight.
Guys,
so let's go.
Yeah. Wait until about an hour and a half into the show, and then we'll really see what's popping. But guys, next on the list, you see him on other shows, guest starring, whether it's Xbox Nation, whether it's Crossfire, but you can find him here every Saturday, a part of the starting lineup, Predator!
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy to be here. Your boy just finally beat Witcher 3, so y'all can stop talking shit and call me a fraud gamer. So let's get it going, man. We got some topics, and I know he's sipping on that damn tequila over there, so we might want to get this shit rolling.
Nice. Yo, brother, how long did it take you to beat Witcher, though?
In hours, 85. In 3 years.
85 hours within 3 years. Oh, yeah. My goodness.
I didn't do everything. I just went through the main story. So,
real question though, is your hairline the same when you started the game?
It is
versus when you end. Okay, I just didn't know because it takes a long time.
He's rocking that LeBron headband now, man.
I shaved my head, so yeah, I got to worry about this shit.
He's like, I will control that narrative, brother.
Right.
Yo, huge shout out to our brother Knoxximus, which unfortunately he couldn't make it today. What happened was, out there at work, he was waiting for greatness when it came to his PS4. He actually was waiting so long, he developed arthritis in his knees, and he can't get back home to the show. So huge shout out for Knox, man. We miss you, brother. Hopefully somebody can get this old man a wheelchair and get him back to his apartment for next week. But I
thought it was because Gears got they show gameplay.
Oh, they show. No, we're just messing with Knox. If you follow the show at all, anytime somebody can't make it to the show, we are gonna troll the hell out of them pretty much the entire show. So it's gonna get interesting, guys. I want to get into the first topic, and you know what? The first topic is a curveball. It's not in the topics list, but it's something that we definitely want to talk about. And I gotta give a huge shout out to the gamers over at Grown Women Gaming. They have a podcast every Saturday afternoon. If you haven't checked it out yet, you definitely have to check it out. And it was so refreshing. I was like, you know what, ladies, thank you for talking about this topic. It's actually gaming news, and it's not console war related. It was just really refreshing, and we're going to talk about it tonight. Guys, Telltale is back. Out of the ashes, somebody dug them up out of their grave, and they are back. Two guys, and I don't have the kind of like specifics when it comes to their names, but two businessmen bought the Telltale property, and with that Telltale property came a couple franchises. They have the Batman franchise and Wolf Among Us franchise. Now, first off, I'm gonna go to K Mega. Like, Mega, I'm not sure if you were into Telltale, but what do you think about this news, man? Telltale is back. Like, are you excited about this, dude?
I mean, yes and no. I've played pretty much all of the Telltale games, except for I did not complete the Batman. Well, I take that back. I haven't completed the Batman. I only did one of the seasons for that, and then I never played the Guardians of the Galaxy one. But all the rest of them I've played, and my favorite was the Game of Thrones, because I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, and probably after that would probably be the Tales of the Tales of Borderlands or whatever. Uh-huh. And so yeah, but I played all of the Walking Dead, and I enjoyed the Walking Dead a lot. But
I don't have that. They don't have that franchise.
Right. And so I look at it, like I said, I mean, it cool, but they had so much controversy on their way out. In a way, it's good that they came back, but it seems to me that they still have the same management, and so therefore I look at it as a problem. There's still going to be a problem with that. Maybe I mean, everybody deserves second chances. I'm not trying to say that they shouldn't ever have a second chance and never be working the field, but I mean, did they learn from their mistakes? And these investors, will this happen again? I mean, because people were really excited about the last one that they did, and then they just shut the doors and kind of just spin the face of the supporters of those Telltale games, and didn't even complete it. And then luckily there were people out there there was developers out there that cared enough to finish the story to the Clementine to the Clementine.
Yeah, well, they snatched up
story.
the franchise while they were doing that as well. So
Right,
they had
right,
the
right,
to
right.
make more.
But again, I mean, you got to look at it from that standpoint. They just shut the doors and was like, we're not going to finish anything, while people already paid full money anticipating to get the full workload of the game.
Well, brother,
And
from what I hear, the management itself isn't necessary. It isn't the same. They have a couple new people in now. Mega, what I wanted to say though, this is kind of like in my opinion, this is kind of like the fly in the oatmeal, and I want to hear your opinion on this because when it comes to the developers that developed all those titles under Telltale, these guys are offering them on a contractual basis, basically off a contract, no guarantee, kind of like full time position or anything, but offering the past developers a contract to work on, whatever projects they're going to be doing. Now, what do you think about that? Where these new guys are coming in and they're telling the developers who basically without them, Telltale wouldn't have became what it became at a certain point in time. Like you're not guaranteed, a long stay here. But if you want to work on a project, we can like form out a contract for you. What do you think about that, man?
I don't know, man. Again, that's just giving the indication that things are still rocky. It almost seems to the point to where if they help create certain games, that these developers will not have the opportunity, and if they're not successful, that these developers are going to get the boot. And I mean, if in the business sense, that's proper, but overall, I think when people if you look at it from the humane situation from it, is where people got to take care of, got to pay their bills, got families, things of that nature. I think that's garbage. So I would just hope overall that a studio that somebody would buy that, just buy the studio, just pay the people that are the investors of it right now, give them the money and just buy it, and then and then build the team from that standpoint, because you're putting in it is good for those developers that's going to have the opportunity to rebrand themselves and come back and have a job. But it also, in a sense, if it doesn't gravitate to the gamers like it used to, then they're asked out anyway. So I don't know. I kind of look at that as yeah, it's cool because people, they want to work, they want to do this projects, but then again, it's kind of crazy because then the gamers are going to want something more eventually, and if they can't provide it, and if the game fails, then they've lost their job anyway. And I don't know, man. I think Don should have went first on that, but you know what I'm saying. But that's just my take on it. It's a little suspect, but I guess it's that's what I'm saying. It's 50-50 with me. I don't know if I'm not happy about it, but I'm not sad about it. I'm not really the biggest fan I'm not the biggest fan of Wolf Among Us. I played it, I beat it. I thought it left it with a cliffhanger, but I was like, that's cool, but yeah. Yeah, right. Game of Thrones gave me the cliffhanger that I was like, oh my god, I got to know more, man. But I get it. I get it.
You know, I'm not a Telltale fan, to be honest with you. I've never played any of their games. I've never been interested in that kind of game mode, so not a big deal to me. When they hung up, you know, it sucks that people are losing jobs. And stuff like that.
They're saying they can't hear us.
They can't hear Xbox. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Can't hear Xbox. Yeah.
Never mind, it's back.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That's what Noof said.
Okay.
I trust Noof.
Okay. Well, they hear me, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So Xbox basically asked me if I am a Telltale fan and if I played any and stuff. Basically, same question you asked. I'm just giving everybody in the chat what they missed. But I'm not a huge Telltale fan. I've never been a fan of their stuff. It's not my type of game mode or anything like that. So sucks those guys lost their jobs in the beginning. But you know, with them coming back on a contract, at least it gives them an opportunity to earn their job back. You know, which kind of sucks. But I would go figure that maybe most of those guys have probably moved on anyway, and the amount of people they're probably going to hire is going to be very minimal. So I was reading the article. You're right. It is a new team that bought them.
Yeah.
And they only have, I think you said two of their franchises. The Wolf Among Us. I forgot what the other one was.
Batman.
Batman. And you know, Batman. Of course, everybody loves Batman. So anything.
I think that would be their first project is to go back in on that, man.
And they may branch out and make something other than that style game too, which will be interesting to see. But I'm not a huge fan of their work, so it's just nothing that's really going to pertain to me and make me scratch my head or turn it in either way. So whatever.
All right, I got you, brother. And I think it's about time to pull Don in here. I know we're gonna get Crispy's opinions or whatnot, but I think it's about time to pull kind of like that ace card out of my sleeve here when it comes to developers who work with contracts and stuff like that. So Don, first off, I gotta know if you're excited that Telltale is back, if you got into those games, and then let me know what you think about their idea when it comes to the developers from the previous titles and how they don't have a guaranteed place, but under contract you could work on a project for them.
Well, I guess there's a couple things to cover. No, I'm not. I've never been a huge fan of Telltale games.
Okay.
In regards, I don't have just like anything. If you don't like it, doesn't mean you hate it. You just don't play it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's kind of always been my take on it. But obviously, you can't say there hasn't been success with that team over the years. I just don't know if they burnt out on what the audience is, right? Like, what is the usable audience for a Telltale style game? I think that kind of dried up a bit. And that's why they got themselves in trouble in the first place, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they definitely bit off more than they could chew, and they just started creating those Telltale type games with like every single franchise that was popular.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess the other question is, what do I think about the contract offer?
Yeah, like these developers that have worked under Telltale made that popularity, made the games that became so popular and stuff like that. Do you feel like it's fair to them that they're gonna get offer on a contract basis more than getting offered any type of position with the studio?
The problem is their job dissolved when the company went under business, right? Like, so they're not, unfortunately, the individuals, even though they worked really hard, no one's really entitled to anything in that situation. The other thing is you got to keep in mind, it doesn't matter if you're talking about contract work or you're an official employee. And the reality is you're always taking a risk with a business, right? Like, you are deciding to trust your livelihood of whatever that business is and believing in that business and spending your time with those guys, and where you could be spending your time with, say, another team or another group. So I think that's an important thing that like people should always keep in perspective.
Mhm.
when you're getting hired or you accept a contract or a job, whatever it may be. And I think people don't look at it from that perspective because, I've been offered, I mean, I'm fortunate enough. I've been in situations where I've turned down opportunities. Now I turned down those opportunities because I didn't think they would pan out. I think the business would have folded under. Two of those opportunities I was 100% right about, right? But that's something you got to think about in the back of
2 out
your
of
head.
3 ain't bad, bro. You're pretty good. You're pretty good at guesstimating.
Yeah, I mean, there's signs, right? But I mean, it doesn't mean those people weren't talented, and doesn't mean just they didn't have the financial backing to make their projects work. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Mhm.
And there's other things too, but like you just kind of have to look at that stuff from that perspective. I think that's the first and foremost, because at the end of the day, yes, you work for a team, you got a group of people that you get really close to, but at the end of the day, you do have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your family, and that's the basic thing. I think with any job, it doesn't matter if it's games or anything else. And I think people just need to keep that perspective no matter what. So
Now, Don, you are familiar with what they did with these Telltale games, how they went episodic
mhm.
and stuff like that, right? Now, what if I told you that these two owners are talking about kind of like a change in that, and not necessarily changing episodic, but if you like, you know me, I have a tendency to read between the lines, man, and from what I hear from what they're saying, doing kind of like a Netflix series type thing, like having it episodic, but releasing them like really close to each other. I don't want to say same day because that to me that wouldn't make sense, but more like
So
episode one
you,
week,
you're talking about like binge
Binge
almost
watching.
binge
like
playing is
yeah,
what you're
binge
thinking.
playing, but a little more scattered than that. Because like when it came to Telltale, they would come out with episode 1, and you wouldn't see episode 2 for like how many months? You know what I'm saying? It was months
I
before
mean,
episode 2
I
came
think
out.
that's a good business model to some degree. Like what the way episodic works is basically you build a project, and there's a certain point where your team kind of moves on to the next project when you're almost done there. And the idea is you're using, let's say, chapter 1, for example, to pay for the funding of chapter 2. And it allows you to kind of get away without having publishers and things like that, right? You're kind of control of your own little destiny there. And that's the general idea behind it. But the problem, and I've always thought the problem with the business model is people get disinterested in the product if there's too much of a gap. Because game development, I mean, it takes time. That's the problem. It's always a time consuming thing. Even with the style of game they do, it's still time consuming. They're still bug testing and all that sort of stuff. So it sounds like they're just trying to backlog at things. Does that sound like pretty much what they're trying to do?
I see. Part of me thinks that it's the non-gamer side of them that might be talking right now, because these guys they haven't really been in the game industry, and I wish I'd done a little more just to put their names down, write it somewhere or something like that, so I could give everybody the names of the
So,
people
so
who
they're
own
just
this right
guys
now.
that had. I mean, to get like a little bit of a nutshell, because I didn't look into this, but they're just guys that have a bunch of money and they think they have a
Yeah,
business
and
model
they're
that
well,
would
they're
work.
bringing
Or
they're
is
bringing
that
people into the project that have worked on at other various studios and stuff like that. So hopefully they're gonna let them kind of like maneuver through the industry, because I don't think these two owners know anything. And kind of like when Mark Cuban first like bought the Dallas Mavericks, and like people are like, "What the hell? He doesn't know anything about basketball." It kind of like that scenario. And yes, guys, I talked about sports real quick, but but kind of like that scenario. But he surrounded himself with people who knew
so? I mean,
basketball.
so if they're offering you a contract, you guys got to think about that stuff, right? Like, what are these guys' experience? The other thing you got to keep in mind is a lot of people that I knew that worked with that studio. They they described it as like a transient studio in the sense of you have to get your street cred to work in the industry, and so they were constantly hiring people, but they weren't constantly keeping people around. There's multiple different reasons for that. From what I hear, I don't know what is rumor and what is truth. But the reality is, people treated it as hey, I got a feather in my cap. I released the game. Hey, cool. I'm going to send out my resume and probably work somewhere where I'm more ambitious to work. So
So they used
just,
it as like a stepping stone to kind of flesh out their
absolutely.
portfolio a little bit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some studios are just like that, right? And unfortunately, that's how Telltale was, and I think that contributed to their demise as well. To be honest with you, so
All right, and we are going to move on to Crispy now. I just want to throw something out there, and I'm going to let the panel think about this. And Crispy, I'm coming to you on this topic right after I say this. Like, with what I'm seeing in Telltale being back, I think this would be a great time for Microsoft to talk to Telltale, not about acquiring them, because like everything today is about people should buy studios. I'm not saying that, but if you look at the art style of Battletoads, and if you want to flesh something out, I think that art style with what Telltale is kind of like known for in their games, getting a Battletoads Telltale game in development and out there, I think that would be awesome.
Get off this Battletoads bullshit.
I think that would be awesome, brother. I really do.
You said it was Chrissy's Bomb's turn, not your turn. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we are going to Crispy next.
You knew better than to start that topic with me.
Yeah. Yo, Battletoads looks great. Hold on, and for the people in the chat, Battletoads. There we
Oh
go.
God, that hurts my ears.
Yeah. Well, Crispy,
But
going from that, I do have to ask you because I don't know. Basically, I got to ask you about if you're into Telltale games, if you were into them when they were pumping them out like crazy, all that good stuff. I want to know what you think about Telltale being back, man.
Telltale games are not my thing. I will say this, as far as gaming's concerned, this is just an awesome thing because I think there's a place for Telltale's type games, and hopefully they can kind of work around the fact that they've had some really large mistreatment within their their core. People have seen this article from Kotaku and they're like, can they move on from that? Because I mean, you can't treat people like they're robots. You can't do it. And this is a lesson for business. I mean, if these two guys have no clue what they're doing, they need to, get some people in there that can, help them learn how to, manage this properly. And if they don't, then they're going to be in trouble. And that's really all I could say about it. I mean, you have to be excited that the game is going to be, made, but at the same time, are they going to continue? Are they going to make the episodes, in a timely fashion? Do they think about these things, or are they just thinking about the money?
So you're talking about making Telltale great again? Is that what you're saying?
Do I sound like that?
Yeah, that's kind of what you're sounding like right now.
Yeah, I gotta ask somebody in the chat. Dual Purpose said, "Who the hell is Telltale, and how do they make a comeback? When were they ever here? I seriously have no clue who this is." Now, first off, I got a question for you. Dual Purpose, how old are you? First off, but second of all, they became popular with The Walking Dead. They made episodic Walking Dead games. That really became popular, and they were, I gotta say, they were filled with like QTEs, a lot of quick time events, but people just started gravitating towards The Walking Dead from Telltale. It was pretty crazy. I played a couple. I know my oldest son definitely
They
got
did
into
Minecraft
them.
story mode too, right?
Yeah, they did Minecraft story mode as well, which is another one that's kind of up in the air. But yeah, so Duel, I don't know where you've been. They became popular during the 360 PS3 era, and then they just started going ham. They did the Minecraft story mode. They did Batman. They did Game of Thrones. They did Tales from the Borderlands. They did so many like episodic games like that. They became a thing. They were definitely here for a while, man. But so on that note, Crispy, when it comes down to it, I know you said you're not a Telltale guy. are you interested to see what they're gonna do for the future though? Because to me, it's interesting because these two guys, they don't know really anything about gaming. They are bringing people into gaming, but then they're already opening their mouth talking about, yeah, we like what they did, but we think we could do it better and we could do it quicker. And like they almost made it sound like they were gonna do like a Netflix episodic binge when it comes to video games, man.
Well, I mean, the formula clearly didn't work. I mean, when a company goes under like
That's
that, and
true.
especially that fast, you have to realize that there's something going wrong. So maybe they change the formula and tweak it, a little bit better. Maybe they make 2 episodes at once and then, release them within like a month period. That would be like, I think, a little smarter, just because it would keep people intrigued. So you have to realize that, at this point, if you're going to go back into this, I call it a space almost in gaming, are you going to continue to do the same thing that failed? And I think that would be stupid.
Yeah, I got you, brother. Does anybody else have any final words on this before we move on? And guys, the topics, they just get juicier the more we get into the show. I swear, this is gonna be crazy. Anybody else, Telltale? Are we done?
Well, no, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's good that they that Telltale is back. I mean, I think they have a cool little thing to them, but it's just like what everybody else has said. I mean, if they try to rush it or try to change it into something that isn't going to work, then it's still going to be the same outcome at the end of the day. So I just make sure that they have a cool product and just get it right. I mean, what I'm saying, that's the first thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm gonna keep my eye on this. Anytime articles pop up or something like that, I definitely want to see how this is gonna evolve because to me it's interesting. I want to see what these guys do with the studio and how they formulate it and like what their first project is gonna be. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do here. But speaking of interested to see, it seems that shout out to my boy on Twitter. I think his name is Ralph the Wrestling Guy. I believe he's the first one that brought this to my attention. But one of the newly acquired first party studios under Microsoft's umbrella, under Xbox's umbrella, Compulsion Games, has put out for that they're seeking developers. And the interesting thing about this is they are seeking developers who have AAA game development experience. Now, we all know, we're all in a community where people are talking about, these first party studios that Xbox recently acquired. Oh, they're just going to make AA fluff to put into Game Pass, to pad that out, to make sure that that there are new games constantly going into Game Pass, and it's not going to be anything particularly special. For people who don't know, Compulsion made We Happy Few. Now, when I look at that game, I think that game has a lot of promise, and they keep evolving it, they keep changing it as they go as well. But they're looking for AAA developers out there, and I'm gonna go with Predator first on this. Predator, what do you think about this Compulsion looking for AAA? Is this what you're expecting from that studio that made We Happy Few? Do you see them stepping up their development and going into a bigger budget project when it comes to a game? Is this something that you're excited for, man?
Yeah, I mean, like I wasn't a fan of We Happy Few, but you got to think about the backing they're getting financially from Microsoft and the staffing they're going to get. Like, why should we expect all these companies, not just them, but every single company Microsoft purchased? Why should we expect them to only make AA games? Like, why would you buy them just to make AA games? That theory never made any sense to me whatsoever. Why can't you do both? Why can't you do like a huge game and then backfill it up with a couple of smaller titles in between? So like I don't understand why everybody thought like all these studios, because maybe because that's all they kind of done in the past. I think this company's only made like 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. Compulsion? Is that
Yeah,
someone?
Compulsion. I know about We Happy Few. I think they did have another project before that, but I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember what it was.
But I mean, like, why should we expect any less? Like, with the type of money and stuff that Microsoft has given them, like, why should we only expect AA games? That just never made any sense to me. They make Contrast. I have no idea what game that is. I'm looking at
Oh,
it right
Contrast. Me
That was
and
a popular game.
yeah, me and
Popular
O
game.
Snaps beat that. It was a small title, but it was like you could use the shadows. You can go into the shadows with your character. It was pretty cool.
360 game, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really understood that. Like, why should we expect them to only make AA games? I know everybody thinks, oh, well, they're just buying these studios to put games in Game Pass as fast as possible. Well, they can do that and also make a AAA blockbuster hit as well.
Mhm.
So and you got to think too. All these studios at some point in time started off small. Like they didn't just wake up one day and like, you know what, we got like 60 people working for us. It didn't happen that way.
No.
A lot of these studios started off with like a small group of people and they got bought out or they got investment or they got, some help with another company and they made, they built up like how big was EA before they became the behemoth they are right now? Like I don't know, but like I'm sure it wasn't like fucking 600 people, So like it had to happen. It doesn't happen overnight. So like the fact that these smaller studios are getting some support and getting bought out by these bigger companies is just going to help them make bigger games. I've never understood why we thought they were just going to make these little small ass bullshit games.
Yeah, brother, it never made sense to me. Like when it comes down to it, let's be honest. There's a lot of people who use information like this for their whole like console war agenda. But that was one thing I always thought. Even the smaller studios that Xbox was grabbing, I was like, well, now they have funding behind them. They can grow. They can get bigger. They can work on multiple projects. Have a bigger team doing something that's bigger, and a smaller team doing kind of like the littler, more arcadey titles and stuff like that. And out there on Twitter, nobody believes that can be done.
And another thing a lot of people don't think about, like think about like everything that Microsoft has under its gaming umbrella. Those are assets they can use now. Like it's Simply Gone, Havoc, like the simple things that we don't think about. Like those are things they probably didn't have access to before. It might have cost too much because they're such a small studio, whatever. Like I'm sure Don can speak on this a little bit better, but like they have access to that shit now. And from what I understand, and like from what I think it was Greenberg, he had a meeting or whatever. I guess they all meet together, the fucking round table or something like that. All these studios, they come together and they talk. It didn't just like Greenberg going to one or Phil going to another one. Like they all sit down together and they discuss things. Like all these studios they just purchase.
I call it the Xbox GDC. I mean, that's what it is.
But yeah, but that's good though for them, right? For these, especially smaller studios, they get to get ideals and like, yo, we're trying to do this. Can you help us with that? Like they're talking to each other and they're helping each other out. They're not just working independently anymore. They're getting all these different assets they didn't have access to before, and it's going to help them make bigger and better games. So like this whole narrative about them only making AA games is bullshit. I don't understand why people would think that way.
Well, who doesn't strive to make something better? I mean, seriously, now you have the funding and you can make a AAA game when you've always wanted to do that. That's like your dream. I mean, I'm sure the Don could probably get into this more, but I mean,
damn, everybody just wants to give the mic to the Don. Like, I swear.
But you got experience, man. You got to go to the person that's got experience with the shit.
I wait my turn. I wait everyone to have
but seriously, like we have to realize that Xbox, from what we've seen, has basically said you go make what you want. So Compulsion's like, okay, we're going to make what we want then. You know what I mean? And they want to make something big, because I mean, We Happy Few, I mean, it's an intricate game. I mean, is it something I would play?
If that game had a bigger budget and they had like what Predator was talking about, if they had like, insight and kind of like guidance from bigger studios, letting them know like newer techniques, little things that they can do, how they can get better and stuff like that. Can you imagine what We Happy Few could have been with all that around it?
Absolutely, I agree with you. And the thing that people don't realize is that everybody says Xbox has a bad, rap with PR and marketing and how they approach things. Well, they're putting it in the devs' hands, and you have to look at, I going back to Gears, but Gears 5 coming out, everybody's like, oh, Microsoft doesn't know what they're doing. They're not doing anything. They let Rod do what he wanted. Okay. And a lot of people don't realize that Rod has the reins over that franchise completely. That guy owns that franchise as far as they're concerned. If he's not there, it probably dies. Okay. So we have to understand that they're going to let these devs do what they want to do. And if they want to make a AAA game, you go and make it. If you want to make a AA that we could throw in Game Pass, you go and make it. Because guess what? Game Pass is actually really cool. Yes. I don't have to buy Gears 5. I don't have to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, awesome. And I get to play other games on top of it.
Dude, I got to stream Blair Witch last night. Like, no problem. And didn't have to worry about, spending any money. Like, the money for Game Pass automatically comes out of the account, like the bank account and everything like that. And as soon as it was ready, I downloaded it. I was able to play it. Freaking awesome. Awesome. Love the service, by the way. And, dude, I love what you said. Like, it's amazing how out there in the world, people can spin things to such a negative and not think about the positive. When it comes down to it, I love what you said about Xbox letting the developers do what they want. Because that is something in the development industry that Sony is known for doing. They are known for letting, their first party, oh, that's the project you want to make? Go ahead and do that. Oh, you need more time? No problem. Dude, that's what the gaming media puts out there when it comes to Sony.
Yeah, I would reel that one a little bit more back.
Okay.
I mean, there's a reason why their games are very similar genres to one another.
That's a great point. Like, people hate when I point that out, but that is a great point as well.
I mean, I don't go as far as you do, but they're definitely cousins, right? Like, when it comes right down to
they're kissing cousins, man. Let's be real.
Well, I don't know how your cousins roll, but my cousins don't roll like that. But I mean, I would say with Sony, they've established what sales pitch that you can pitch to Sony, and they would green light. So I think that's a lot of the reasons why you see a lot of the same from Sony, unless those risks being taken.
Okay. I got you, man. Well,
I mean, but once you've done that, I think they pretty much, what do you need? How much time do you need? Like,
they definitely give time, man.
I definitely would have to say, like, that's definitely the case. Man, why is your car scraping so much paint in this gameplay?
Oh, why you gotta point that out, brother? Why?
Not racing.
Why you gotta do that, man?
He's scraping paint, ain't he?
Can we get a bump count,
man?
Yeah, can we get a bump count going on,
dude? I'm driving in the snow and in the water.
This dude does not have the skills to drive. He did not.
I think he's gonna bump again. Jeez.
Yo, K-Meg, I wouldn't even talk, man. You put body oil on all your cars in Forza so you can slip by because you play Tekken so much.
So when I beat you, I just go ahead and that's what's happening.
Dude, you know we end between 9 and 9:30, right? Like I have a free night.
We can put on Forza. We can put any Forza you want. We can put Forza Horizon 1. We can go to Forza. We can go to every Forza you want.
Yeah. Oh shoot. Yo, shout out to
yeah, you better change that up.
Yo, Atrocity Nights hitting up that super chat, showing love and support for the show. Dude, I'm trying to pay the bills right now.
Pay the bills.
Yeah. He said, when are we going to put the console wars to the side and come together as a community,
27.
as a whole, and raise hell and push back on the surprise mechanics that 2K
28.
is trying to modernize? Dude, it's not just... I wouldn't say it's just about the surprise mechanics, but coming together as a whole.
29.
Are you counting?
30. Yeah.
Guys, I'm getting trolled by the Don right now. But Atrocity, man, I feel you. Like, when can we come together and like have it not be like my piece of plastic is better than yours, dude? I feel you on that, man. And every once in a while, I know I'm guilty as well. I get
And
sucked in.
let me just say this. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you,
It's
but
all
no, not really.
Oh, damn.
You just say sorry or not sorry?
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
just
said
said sorry, not sorry.
Where's the Reese's at?
until the people that are the bigger YouTubers that promote that type of garbage start losing their bravado, and people that actually care about just all gaming and just want to just discuss gaming start taking over that, then that's when you'll start seeing things change, because because everything within that will adjust to the way that things that you want it to be happen. Until
So the
then,
gamers have the control is what you're
the
trying to say.
gamers have the control. So you may want it to be this way, but until the gamers actually want that instead of the bullshit that they normally hear, it's going to keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
Start co-signing shit on Twitter.
On that point, I gotta say, I love everybody who supports this show. You guys come out in droves, and it's awesome. But if you look at other shows and other channels that kind of like get into the whole console war thing, like there's people out there, the viewership goes through the roof and stuff like that, and it shows that people want that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we try, we have fun over here. Like, and I can't say that we don't dip our toes here and there when it comes into the console war BS, but when it comes down to it, we talk gaming news, and we have a lot of fun with it, and we don't get evil with none of it. All right, and you know, it's up to the community out there to support the stuff that doesn't do that. Look at like Four Guys with Quarters. That podcast, absolutely incredible podcast, right? And they don't go anywhere near console war stuff. I mean, they inspired this show to be what it is today. And people got to go out there and support those shows, man. It's basically what it comes down to. But on that note, yo, Don, what do you think about this compulsion thing? Did you see the hiring and stuff like that? You're more in tune with the industry. Does it look like that they are building up to make a AAA game, or do you think they might be doing something like Ninja Theory did with Hellblade, and kind of do a production that on the surface like looks like a big budget game, but in all actuality is a smaller type game? What do you think, bro?
I'll say this: Microsoft Studios as a whole, what I've seen is trying to, how would you say it, court some of the top talent possible.
Dude, you see the initiative, man. Like,
well, you're seeing it with everything. You're seeing with 343. You're seeing with their new acquired studios. They want top tier talent, and I think when they say AAA, what they're trying to tell you is that's the expectation. If you haven't worked on a AAA game, still apply, unless it's a coalition, not a coalition, but what is it?
Initiative.
Initiative is a different story.
Initiative,
yeah,
man. They've been
It's a different story. Trust me on that one. But
they've been buying all-star teams, man.
No. They've been hiring people. They haven't been buying people. They've been hiring people.
I said buying all-star teams. You can translate that to whatever you want, brother.
Yeah, they're not owning anyone. But that being said, that being said, though, and that's across all their studios. That's the type of level of talent they want, regardless of if you worked on a AAA game or not. Now, if you worked on a AAA game, obviously you can hit the ground running, and I think they're obviously expecting that from the talent that they hire. In regards to that, but their dreams can be made true. Anything that they wanted to dream up, I mean, basically what Matt Booty is, I mean, that's what he's taking the reins and says, what do you need? Okay, this is your vision. What do you need? And there comes with expectations with that sort of stuff too. You guys got to keep that in mind. I think everyone keeps thinking, hey, they just got a blank check and they have infinite amount of time and there's never ever going to be crunch or anything like that. Look, there's going to be expectations. They're going to have to work hard, but they want the talent to be able to do it. So I'm excited to see what these studios are doing. I mean, if you look at the core of what these studios are, they make interesting things. The question is, if you now give these studios a budget, and you give them access to, say, talent and tools that you maybe would have had to scale back whatever they were doing.
Well,
What is it going to end up being, right? Like,
brother,
that's exciting, you know what I mean?
when it comes to compulsion, like, you as a developer, I think you've gone in and tried that game, right? Have you?
No,
Have
I
you?
haven't. To be
No.
honest with you,
Ha-
I haven't. It didn't catch my interest, but I mean, I'm not going to like every game. I mean, that's
do
the harsh
you do
reality.
you see, like, does it make sense what I'm saying, that, like, if you see kind of like, what Pred said about, the first party Xbox teams coming together, getting a little bit of guidance, Compulsion getting a little bit of guidance and stuff like that. You see kind of like Microsoft and Xbox backing it monetarily. Do you see, like, what I'm saying? That, can you imagine what that game could have truly been with all that support and all that assistance? Does that kind of like ring true to you, man, or is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always, like a lot of people like to criticize development when or games when they don't meet their expectations, right? And a lot of it always, people say words like lazy and stuff like that. No, the devs are not lazy. They all worked hard, but the harsh reality is, it always comes to time, money, and in more or less talent, right? It always comes down to those fundamental things, and a lot of times you don't always have the money or have all the time, or or the finances allow you to hire certain talent, or you're not able to court that talent to your studio to kind of fill that hole of something you're trying to be ambitious about. And guess what? Your game has to be scaled back. That's what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what can we release? What can we do with what we got? And that's just how game development. It doesn't matter if it's the most expensive AAA game from Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo. There's always something being scaled back. There's always something that's on the cutting room floor that they just don't have the time and the money or the budget to do it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just kind of how all this stuff goes. I mean, that's the difference between like what you would see, like, a more like B-level studio versus a AAA. One's got the money and the other one doesn't.
I always go back to Minecraft, and I always look at Minecraft and I say,
Dude, you
where
can't
did
see it
that
now
start?
because of the delay, but you're talking over Minecraft ray trace kind of like gameplay being shown right now. But go ahead,
Okay.
yeah, that's funny.
But seriously, you think about where Minecraft started and what
Mhm.
it sold for to Microsoft and how much money it's made Microsoft, and you say there you don't know as a developer, as a human being, what will catch the audience that will put you way over the edge. You know
Well,
what I mean?
and that's the thing too. Like, I played a lot of games. I have got a couple projects under my belt now, and I look at Minecraft today, and if I forgot the guy's name that actually originally created it. If he pitched me an idea of Minecraft, I would have scratched my head and said, "What? I'm not funding that game." Like, it's like I didn't get it, right? And I think a lot of people didn't get it, but he decided to do it anyways because he believed in this project, and I think it exceeded his expectations. But that's kind of what happens on that. And to Crispy's point is, they've taken it to the next level, right? Ever since Microsoft acquired it, I mean, it's only gotten bigger from that point on. And that's what happens when you put money behind things. That's what happens when you put certain talent behind.
And it could come from anybody. It can come from anyone. That's why it's
absolutely.
the beauty of letting them, somewhat. I'm sure there's a budget involved, but somewhat doing what you want to do, what you feel is right. And sometimes some things that might seem, niche or old school might catch fire to even like the younger gamers. You know what I mean? That they might be like, oh, this is so cool. And then you're like, really? You know what I mean? Like some of us that are, older gamers that have went through the whole Sega to, now Xbox One X that are like, I couldn't go back and play that, but some of these younger gamers never experienced that. So they don't know.
Yes, that's definitely true. Let's get K Mega involved on this when it comes to compulsion as well. So, K Mega, compulsion hiring developers with AAA experience, and you heard what Don said. It's like, even if you don't have that experience, definitely apply. But what they're saying is that's pretty much the expectation, the type of quality that Xbox and Compulsion, within themselves are expecting. What do you think about this? Do you feel like this is a studio that can go ahead and make a big budget title? What you've seen from like We Happy Few and the first project Contrast as well. Do you see this studio creating something awesome with a big budget, man?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think any studio that has the resources, pretty much, I would say 90% of them would make a fantastic game. Because I could just go back to play some of these titles that I play on PC that are in the starter position, and I'm like, man, this game has a lot of potential. But you can tell it's just the budget, and for that reason, is that it's hard for them because they don't have the budget that they're looking for, and they're trying to get the funding from their game to get it to go further. So, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that, Microsoft doing this for them is a benefit.
Well, it definitely benefits both parties there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, no. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a benefit. Like, people keep making these excuses and saying that, look at this. Well, I mean, you gotta like just say Insomniac, right? I think Don alluded to it first, was basically saying, every studio has to start from somewhere, right? And so you go back to Insomniac and see where they started. I mean, nobody knows what those games were, but you know what the games that they've done now, and they've been in the game for a very long time. They're established. So why is it that these smaller developers or these smaller studios can't come out and do something that may not be your type of game right now, but they couldn't bring something that you will absolutely love in the future?
Well, take it further. Look at Naughty Dog.
Right. Yeah.
Look
Thank
at
you.
their pedigree. Look at their history, and I mean, I don't agree with this. I mean, I think they're a talented studio, but people call them like the best studio out there. I don't think that's the case, but they are talented.
Well, they're up there.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely
Wasn't their first game was a platformer, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, it's a little Tasmanian devil looking guy spinning around in circles.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's it. And so
PlayStation,
yeah.
And there's some people, I mean, like, that worked on PlayStation titles that have disappeared, right? And so, like, it goes all. I mean, and Microsoft's got those as well, and Nintendo's got some burnt bridges in their history, but they also have, in that process, you find the hardest thing about a studio. I guess the best way to describe this is it's like trying to create a band. There is a certain synergy to bands that you just can't duplicate when you put certain people together, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to put the band together, but the root of what the studio is and what it will cultivate is already there. So you're just basically adding to that is what's going on. And I think that's how Microsoft looks at these studios. I think that's how Matt Booty looks at these studios,
Right.
in regards to that. And it goes from there. And they may be wrong. They may be right, though. And
are you looking at it from a positive side there?
Well, hold on. Let me make this point though. Let me go ahead and make this point. I'm gonna say some name of some games right fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna try to you guys to guess what studio made these games. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna be horrible at this, but okay.
All right. Well, we'll see. Super Marathon. G-Noop. Hold on. I'm gonna name these games: Super Marathon, G-Noop, Marathon Infinity, Operation There's a Storm. Hold on, let me look at a couple more. Marathon, Pathways to Darkness.
Marathon is a Bungie title.
What is it?
Bungie.
Okay, and then Pathways to Darkness. And Myth. Have you played any of those games? Were those some killer games?
I heard of Myth before, but I don't.
How about Oni?
I've actually played that. I played that
I,
at E3 actually.
I played Oni. I played Oni back in 2001. But you know what studio that is?
Bandai.
No, Bot already said it.
No, Bungie.
Bungie, as I said.
As soon as
Bot
you said
already it.
Marathon, because Marathon is a predecessor to Halo.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
So
and Oni was just before they made Halo.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
So that right there tells you that everybody has to start from the bottom.
That's a great point, man. And yo, dude, what you did there with bringing those titles out should show people out there that, you know, when it comes to studio acquisitions and stuff like that, I can see compulsion with what they did with Contrast with a limited budget, smaller, you know, kind of like indie title, and what they did with We Happy Few. Like there is a promise there. That studio can grow to be something. You know what I'm saying? Something.
Every studio bot can grow to be something as long as they have the financial backing. That's the point. That I think that's the point that Don's making, that I'm making, is that look, there wouldn't have been a Naughty Dog unless they had some financial backing. There wouldn't have been an Insomniac game unless there was financial backing. There wouldn't have been a Bungie. There would have been a 343, but even though they inherited, but there wouldn't even been so many of. There wouldn't have been a Square Enix if it wasn't financial backing behind their first projects. So that's the thing that I'm saying is like, look, people are expecting, or they're negating the fact that there is that, oh well, this studio, well, we so happy few, or I don't know what the hell
We
the
Happy
name is.
Few.
We happy few. It's not my cup of tea.
That's a Tito
Me neither.
talking, man.
Me neither.
It's not my cup of tea. It's not great. Why would I trust this studio? Why would Microsoft do this to me? This is one of their very first games that's got out there to the public for you to even make that decision. Because if they came out with something beforehand, you may not have known what they did. And maybe if you did play that game, you may have loved it, but you didn't know what the studio was. And then you're like, well, We Happy Few, I know about this studio, but I don't know. But then the next game could be a fucking monster.
But yeah, don't underestimate them. Like they gotta earn your dollar. I mean, like here's the thing. Until they do it, they have, you know, basically they have something to prove, right? But don't dismiss them before they present something to you. Is where I think most of what they would ever ask of the community is, don't dismiss them yet. Give them a chance. You know, see what they're going. Doesn't mean you have to be hyped for it because they haven't shown anything that you're interested in yet. But that's what kind of makes these studios exciting, right? Like, you know, you hear about all the rumors of whatever the guys that did Control. I forgot the name.
Remedy.
Yeah, so you hear about all the rumors of Remedy possibly being acquired or possibly working on a project for Sony and all that sort of stuff. And the reality is, I'm pretty sure that next game's probably going to be pretty good. But
their previous two games were pretty good
But we already kind of know what they'll probably produce. Does that make sense? Like, there's no real surprises there. Like, and it's not a knock on them. I mean, they've gotten there, right? And so, like, you know, that's not a bad thing. But what's cool is you're seeing money being pumped into the industry on the development side of things, which is a huge void ever since Midway left the industry, right? And so now you have it from a backing of a platform provider. And what they're doing is they're creating all these new jobs, these new openings, the people that have the gusto, they're willing to say, yeah, I got what it takes to do what you guys are asking for. And there's this huge void of talent that's trying to fill these spaces. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, like, here's the thing, say like you're just a Sony guy and Microsoft brings more competition to it. Sony's going to step up their game. They're not going to set aside. They look at Microsoft as a competitor. They're going to, and they're going to get better as well. This is going to want to be one of those things. Like, what I'm most excited about going into the next release of hardware. I'm being careful not to call it next generation.
Dude, I've been doing that for probably this whole year as well. Like,
yeah, the next release of hardware that's going on, I think it's going to be different depending on what platform we're talking about. But what you're going to see, a competition between the platform providers that never has existed since they've, you know, gone toe to toe with one another. how's that not a bad thing? How is that not exciting to see what's going to come up from these up and coming studios? What's going to be, how Sony's going to react and vice versa. Like, you're going to see some cool stuff in regards to that. And now we can start, developers, we're able to play with hardware in a way that we never could before. I mean, and it's even going to go more that way with the next release of hardware we're going to see. So, I mean, it's exciting times. Doesn't matter what platform provider is your choice where you call home. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And that's another thing too, is that, I mean, do anybody know where Pathfinder Adventures came from? What studio made that game?
What the hell is that?
I'm just asking. Do
It
anybody
sounds
know?
cool. It sounds like a cool game.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take a stab in the dark here. Pathfinder Adventures.
You're trying to type it in. Come on now.
No,
Just
no,
make
no.
a
I'm
guess.
trying to think. I'll throw out Naughty Dog.
Okay. Anybody else? All right.
I got nothing, buddy.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. I'll do one more just to make sure that just to make
Is
sure.
it from the
How
same
about-
developer?
How about no? How about Armored Warfare? Anybody heard of that?
Armored Warfare. No, can you tell us the developers, man? Come on.
Okay, I'll even go one more step
Oh,
further.
damn, dude,
I'll
you're
go one more
killing
step
me.
further. Everybody will know this. Star Wars: Knights of the Republic.
Oh, BioWare.
No, not BioWare.
Just throw it out there, K-Mega.
Obsidian.
Obsidian. Oh,
Obsidian.
yeah. Why did I say BioWare? Damn it.
Well, because I mean, BioWare.
I actually love this because I've never heard of. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Knights are
right, but there's Knights of the Old Republic. But then they also, but see, this is why people try to downgrade what Xbox done. Obsidian is a huge grab because they've made games like The Stick of Truth, Alpha Protocol, which was broken as fuck, but actually had a really cool concept. Really cool concept. No, it really cool. Neverwinter is one of those games that is straight up Xbox's thing. Tyranny, you know what I'm saying, Pillars of Eternity. When people talk about Fallout, it's Fallout Vegas, and then of course you got Wasteland 2, and then you got Outer Worlds. But see, when you first heard of Pathfinder Adventures, you're like, what the hell was that? When did that come out? What was that? That game came out in the early 2000s, in the mid 2000s, and
Really?
and look where Obsidian is now, and now they're purchased by Microsoft.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
they got to start somewhere, and they've had hits and they've had misses, but they've also had some games that are very iconic, and they have the chops when it comes to certain games like RTSs and definitely RPG element type games. So therefore, why if Microsoft gives them a budget, what do you think that Obsidian's going to do with that?
Well, that's kind of like the big question. As Don said, that's the intrigue when it comes to these studios.
Exactly.
Well, here's another amazing thing about it. So they're part of the team, and we talked about the Microsoft GDC that I joked around about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But it is known within an industry that one of the things that people keep pushing is RPG elements in any game, right? Because what it does is it gets those hooks into people, and it keeps them engaged in their games longer.
It's got me really excited about Halo Infinite, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that results sometimes in microtransactions. Sometimes it just results in you engaging in the game, suggesting that game to a friend, having that person buy a Game Pass. You kind of get where that's going. That's the reason why those mechanics exist, for a multitude of different reasons. But the bottom line is you're trying to continue to engage in the game. That does result into more income and more sales. And who would you want to bounce ideas off of? Obsidian would be one of those people in the industry. Probably one of the better people that you can ask for, right?
Dude,
so
having Obsidian Double Fine as well. Double Fine when it comes to their developers. Now, Don, you can say if this is true or not, but like at least the main, I forgot his name, the main guy at Double Fine is one of the most respected developers in the industry.
I don't think anyone dislikes him. Like, I don't think he's got an enemy that I know of out there
Not
in the
only is
world.
he talented, but he's absolutely respected.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what
And
I'm saying?
I
So
remember, and he's been around for a while. Like, I mean, he's back in the old LucasArts days with like point and click adventures and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
in a lot of ways, he kind of almost created genres, or been part of teams that created genres. I
Yeah.
should say, in full respect, because there's more people than just him. But yeah, so I mean, he's a super talented individual in regards to that, and the best place for him is just a think tank where he just think of creative ideas, and then just like, okay, here's my ideas. Can you guys execute? And then he passes on the leads. That's how I see him as an individual, even though he tries to be more hands-on with stuff. But as somebody that just creates some prototype stuff and then passes on to a bigger team, I see double. Basically, I think his name's Tim Schafer. Is that correct?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see Tim Schafer just prototyping ideas all day long and come up with new ideas and just like, here's some new cool new stuff. What do you guys think about this? And then Matt Booty's like, I like them all, but we got to choose two. So what do I need to give you to make these work? And that's how that conversation is going. And Microsoft, what a lot of people don't realize is, people criticize them for working on, for example, their streaming service. I've heard that. I've heard people criticize them for working on Game Pass and stuff like that. But what they're doing is, those are the platform. The platform is either you buying a console, booting up your PC, or streaming it to what your favorite device is. It doesn't really matter. They're casting the biggest blanket possible across the board. And that way, when they release products, they have a audience that they can sell that product to at any given point in time in any different form factor out there. If you want to, if you, and then this is where the fear mongering, like, people are going to be afraid of change, but the reality is they're not going to let you.
I think that might be the first time we heard fear mongering on next podcast. But go ahead.
But they're not going to stop you from wanting to buy your game. If you want to buy your game and give them $60, they're not going to say no. Right? They're going to let you continuously buy and own your games, but they're going to offer other alternatives if the financial things don't work out for the individual customer, because they want to make it work for as many customers as possible and then continue to bring in that revenue.
And I don't know if I'm gonna segue, but look at Gears 5. It's selling for $50. So you're gonna get $10 cheaper. And that's if you want to buy the game. If you don't want to buy Game Pass, go ahead, buy it for $50. They're good with that. They're fine with that.
They're absolutely
Dude,
fine
I
with
heard
that.
so many segues in this conversation. It's not even funny, by the way, Crispy.
But that's the thing, is you set that up and then you start pumping out the games. You don't start pumping up the games if you don't have a fail-safe, right? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it does.
And like, they've had a lot of people want to say they didn't have a successful generation. They didn't have it as successful as previous generations, but they've had a good generation.
They had a rocky. See, in my opinion, they had a rocky generation, but what they did to turn everything around, I would consider it a successful generation from that standpoint.
I would say it's a net positive for sure. And that's the thing, but they're looking at it going forward is, how do we minimize risk? How do we get more games in more people's hands? How do we add more value so more people play your games and play your games longer? And yes, they have had some missteps along the way. I mean, you can't deny that's the case, but you think that any situation when you have missteps that you just like, I'm just going to continue to make these missteps? No, you're going to try to rectify those situations, and you're going to try to continue to move forward and continue to do better. So, I mean, honestly, I think when you look at Coalition, I think you're seeing a preview of what these studios are going to turn into eventually.
Nice.
Because if you think about it, they're the nobodies, right? They were
Yeah, sure.
And they're put in charge of a very popular franchise, and then everyone feels like they did safe, and then you start seeing earlier reviews, and you start hearing some of the stuff they're doing. And I know we're going to get into that stuff more, but game 2, here you go. And I expect to see that a lot with some of these products. Some of these leaps you're going to see is in game 1 or game 2 or whatever these studios are producing. So watch out. I mean,
nice.
Okay, so before we get up, I got one more thing. I got one more list, and I want you guys to tell me.
Yo, this is gonna be the K Mega list episode. Let's do this.
Well, no, I'm just gonna say. I just want to do one more list. Okay.
I hope I know these, brother. I really
okay.
do, because I played some weird games, man.
Who's the studio? Crime Crackers.
Double Fine.
wait. What are you trying to say?
Bruh, hey man, I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it. I'm just
I don't know
reading
if
it.
you
I'm
can
just
say
reading
this
it.
on YouTube. I don't know what
Listen,
you're doing
hey
there,
man, no,
cool.
bro, I don't play.
Hey,
No,
cool,
the
man.
game is called Crime Crackers.
I'm
People
not a
look it
sensitive
up.
individual.
I understand.
will.
Okay. Let me get to
I
the
want to
next
see
game.
that game.
Okay. All right. Nova Storm.
I know that name.
Okay.
Any more? Or
Oh yeah, there's plenty of more.
Are they all the same developer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Cyber Sled.
Damn.
I mean, I could say
That's
one
like a
name and then
robot
everybody will
Santa
know.
simulator.
Okay.
Just keep going rapid fire, and then when someone notices, they'll say it.
Philosoma.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Keep going.
Kart World Series.
Oh, you're giving them too much time. Keep going.
Okay, Rallycross.
Rallycross. Hold on. Oh.
Still Rain.
Still Rain. That's
Blasto.
I'm going to Google this, but I'm going to let you keep talking.
Everybody Golfs.
Everybody's golf. That's
Running
on
Wild.
PS4.
Okay, let me
You're
just
saying,
break it down because we got another topic to go to.
I think
but I'm going to just say
Blasto is Naughty Dog.
No. Twisted Metal.
Oh goodness, really?
Eat, Sleep, Play?
No.
Sony Interactive.
Because the Eat, Sleep, Play.
Sony Interactive.
Interesting. Because Eat, Sleep, Play did work on that.
Yeah, Ridge Racer. I mean that's that.
Oh yeah, okay.
So,
Racer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is the thing. Warhawk. Like this is the thing
Yeah,
right here.
I used to play the shit out of that game.
Right.
So wait, no, that is Eat, Sleep, Play.
Yeah. So this is the thing that I'm trying to make, right? I think it's a crime that Twisted Metal is not out there, but Sony decided that game is just not profitable enough. Warhawk, that man, you couldn't tell me about all the missiles shooting from that damn what helicopter chopper, whatever thing with the flying machine that was.
Shit was ahead of its time. It was like a mecha
way ahead of time. Yeah, you're talking to a dude at that time that was diehard PlayStation. You could tell me jack shit about anything bad about PlayStation. So the thing to me is that we just sit here and there's so many games. I mean, there's a lot of games that nobody will ever see again that was under Sony's umbrella. But the point of the matter is, it's just like, look, you didn't know that because in a sense you didn't care. You didn't buy those games, you didn't support them, or the fact that, you know what, you wish that those games would come back, but you didn't care who the developer was. That's why would you care about what Xbox is doing with these studios now? If you don't care about what Sony let go and they passed on, moved around, and all that, why would you care what Xbox is doing? Let's just see what Xbox is going to bring and produce for the gamers, and then move on from that.
Nice. And on that note, guys, you talk about move on from that. We are going to move on from that topic. I do want to state something. I'm seeing the chat, and people are talking about, because I have been very vocal when it comes to Sony's first party, about using a certain blueprint. Like, their first party seems to be third person, action adventure, camera over the shoulder. I even gone as far as to, I'm like, man, are they using the same textures, but coming from different, games from different studios? That right there, what I'm trying to say is, like, everybody tries to point the finger at games like Sea of Thieves, and I'm like, well, but look at it. It's an open world pirate game, and if you look at what Xbox has to offer, they have a first person shooter that is world renowned. They have a third-person cover-based shooter that is world renowned. They have a closed-circuit racing game that is world renowned. They have an open-world racing game that is world renowned. Do you see what I'm saying here? When it comes down to it, what a lot of people out there on Twitter, what they praise, I look at it as all those games having the same structure that was built, that the game was built on. They're all third-person action adventure. I understand that is a genre that people like. But when it comes down to it, people are pointing the finger at Xbox so much. There are things to criticize on Sony's side as well.
We have some extreme.
It's not to say
extreme
those
debate.
games are not good. Like
No.
they're good games, but here's the thing: is there is not the variety over there in regards to that. And I think it's really a derivative as a publisher. I think if you're a studio that works under Sony, you know what to sales pitch them. You know how to sell them on your idea.
Yeah.
And that's what it really comes right down to it. So like if you try to sell them a first person shooter and you had probably a phenomenal, like I'm sure some of those studios can do a great first person shooter if they wanted to, but you know, they're probably going to look at Resistance and some of their other titles they've done in the past, and they haven't done.
Dude, I was like,
their newer stuff, and so it probably won't get greenlit.
All right, check this out. Killzone Shadowfall. When I got a PS4, I wanted to try that game out. All right. Now I played it. I was disappointed in it. Right. But but if they came out with another Killzone, which they looked at their previous one and they corrected a lot of things in terms of the story, in terms of the gameplay and stuff like that, I would have been excited, and I probably would have been in. After seeing what changes they made and stuff like that, I would have been in on getting another Killzone to see the progression. You know what I'm saying?
What happened to SOCOM? I mean, SOCOM basically made me a multiplayer gamer. I'm not even kidding. Like SOCOM was way ahead of its time. You know what I mean? Like it was very, yes, it was third person, but it was very in depth in how you use cover and everything else.
We can hope that when it comes to the PlayStation 5, you know what I'm saying? That they'll look at kind of like the outcry from the fans when it comes to that franchise, and possibly find a developer, find a studio that can go in with that franchise and kind of be true to that route, but still.
I think Cryotech would be a perfect fit for Sony in that situation, because I don't look at Cryotech working with Microsoft. I can see them working with Sony and taking on one of those first person shooters, those properties they own, and going from there. Like that's the thing though. Like I think they look at where they've had success and where they haven't had success, and they have a little bit of a when you mine for gold, there's that vein, and they're just keep tapping into that vein. The question is, when is that vein going to run out for them? When are people going to say, it's good, it's pretty, but when am I going to get something else? And eventually that's going to happen, right? So the question is Sony going to prepare for that? I hope so, because I don't think people are getting tired of what they're producing right now. But I do want to see more variety from Sony, from my perspective, and what I like from them as somebody that has played the original PlayStation, the PlayStation 2, because the PlayStation 2 and I look at the PlayStation 1, if exclusives wise, they had such a variety.
Dual purpose. It's not just about the camera. I said third person action adventure game. All right, like that's like the blueprint that I keep seeing from them. And then, like,
I would avoid using the word blueprint, but I get what you're saying. Like, there's similarities.
And like, I am allowed to be disappointed over that and to say that, just like people are allowed to be disappointed in State of Decay 2, even Crackdown 3. I like the story, but I do realize the game is not for everybody.
Let me make a point. Let me make a point here, because dual purpose is trying to make it, and he's contradicting himself right within his own point, because he's saying which one is more similar, Ghost of Tsushima or God of War. They're both a hack and slash. You both have a weapon and you hit somebody with it.
Yeah,
and then you said then he says, or God of War Gears. They both have a gun and you both shoot with it. So you kind of kill your own point.
No,
You know what I'm
but see,
saying? So that
I'm
don't make any
interested.
sense.
I'm interested in Ghost of Tsushima. Like what I saw
No,
from
I
that
am
game,
too.
I'm like, yo,
I'm
that
hyped for
looked
that
pretty
game.
cool. You know
I'm
what I'm
hyped for
saying?
I'm hyped for that game. And God of War was phenomenal. Right? That was the best PlayStation exclusive, in my opinion, next to Detroit. But that's not an exclusive anymore. So therefore, the best to me is God of War. Then you would go down to games like I loved Until Dawn.
So variety.
Yeah.
I mean that's another example. Like,
Right.
yeah, you like some games that other people that enjoy Sony as well, but you
Right.
also like when they introduce variety.
Right, and they don't,
in regards to that.
and
So
it's not really, and it's seen to me, it's more of the issue. If it's not that if they bring variety, because they have plenty of second and third party games that you could jump onto and wet the palate, but it's the community within itself. Now I understand that there's plenty of people when you are in there that they communicate things like that, but I'm in the party and I go random, nobody's talking. I can jump into a random party. I mean, not random party, but I can go live with Xbox anytime I want to, and there's going to be people talking, regardless. Not everybody's going to be in a private party talking amongst themselves. So, like, if I jump in and I play Battlefield, because I have Battlefield on PlayStation, I have about 4 of the Battlefields on PlayStation, and then I jump in and I'm like, oh man, let me jump in, let's do some things, maybe we can squad up. It's quiet, and so I'm like, man, that just kind of that dulls the experience for me. And that's why it is synonymous for what it is of being the single player console.
Mm-hmm.
While Xbox is what it is a multiplayer console, and Nintendo is pretty much a single player, but it's a hybrid because nobody ever looks at Nintendo as anything but
Nintendo
just kind
has
of
the
like a
handheld
secondary
market
console.
on lock, brother.
Well, Nintendo has
they have the handheld market on lock.
The alternative market on lock, because there are plenty of people that like their single player experiences, but they still have online games. But the fact that nobody takes them as serious as they do between Xbox and PlayStation, and that's why Nintendo was thriving like they are right now, in my opinion.
All right, well, guys, let's move on to something that I know Crispy wants to talk about, and I saw a couple people in the chat. Let's get into this Gears 5 hype because it seems to be ever increasing ever since Gamescom. They came out with a campaign trailer, and I will let you guys know right from that trailer, I thought they did it. That's exactly what I wanted to see. They came out with 9-inch nails. They were showing the what was going on in the story, like what Kate was dealing with mentally, and what
that was all in game too. By the way, just letting you know.
No, yeah, no, I got you, man. It looked gorgeous, but not only that, it gave some it made that campaign solid. All right, and then not only that, but afterwards you have gaming media, Windows Central, a couple other big gaming media sites coming out with their preview and stuff that they played when it came to this game, the campaign, and all that good stuff, and they're letting people know it is the biggest Gears that has ever been made, both in like the size of the world, your fighting areas, stuff like that, but also within the campaign itself. I think people put out their average, if you're just doing campaign, you're going straight from beginning to end, you're looking at about a 12-hour game, but there is stuff to do on the side as well. And if you go in and explore and like, find every nook and cranny and everything there is to discover in the game, it's going to take, a lot longer. But, people were worried about this game at the beginning and when it came to their marketing. Why aren't they showing the campaign and stuff like that? I think what they've shown lately has put a lot of the criticism to rest. We're gonna go to Crispy first on this, man. This is right up your alley here. Uh, dude, do you think they showed all this stuff at the right time? What do you think about what they showed as well? Because we haven't been on the air for 2 weeks, so when it came to the campaign, the campaign trailer, we didn't really go in and talk about that at all. So let me know what you think about what you've seen so far with Gears, brother.
The fact is that a lot of people keep going back to Xbox as being the problem, but they have to realize that Xbox is given the reins to Rod Ferguson. Okay, the Coalition is a very large studio. All right, we have a mobile game coming out from them and Gears Tactics on top of Gears 5. We can't sit here and act like he doesn't have like almost unlimited funding. All right, he can do what he wants. And the thing I say is that Rod is one of them people that lives, breathes, and eats. Just he could freaking eat a sandwich that's called Gears, and he's gonna eat it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like, this is in his hands now. Maybe, possibly, the backlash of them not showing any campaign stuff at E3 might have made him think twice. So he readjusted because he already had everything. They already went gold before Gamescom happened. Okay, let's not sit here and bullshit. This game's done,
dude.
It's been done for a while.
Talk about being efficient as well as a studio, man. Like
2.5 years, guys. Let's think about this. They're gonna make this game. They made it in 2.5 years, and it is pushing the Xbox One X. I say the X, but even the S and the original to the limits. You have ray tracing on all three. You have 60 hertz servers. You have everything that you'd want in a multiplayer, and then all of a sudden you're going to get single player with you'd be able to explore certain acts. You could go around and learn about Gears lore. I mean, this is a huge game. This game in 2.5 years is absurd. With graphically and everything else, it's crazy. I've been preaching it for a while. You don't worry about it. Everybody else saying, oh, everything's, they're not showing this, they're not showing that. It's because Rod doesn't want to spoil us. Okay, he doesn't want us not to think like what's going to happen in the campaign. You know what I mean? Like with Gears 4, when they showed the trailer at E3. They finally showed what we're fighting against, which is basically like a locust knockoff, as I call the Swarm. But the Swarm can like go into robots and people, and I mean, this shit's crazy. I mean, the game has become bigger than what I ever thought. And I posted one question to Jess Gordon on Xbox 2 podcast, and I said,
shout out to Jess, by the way.
I said, do the new mechanics bode well for the future of the franchise? And he flat out said, absolutely 100%. And I said, that makes me excited for the rest of the, Gear 6, Gear 7. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to be blown away, probably, especially by the ending. Because even Gears 4 had a decent ending. Like, you're like, oh, shit, what's going on here? You know what I mean? So, Rod has finally gotten his, he's gone through the trials and tribulations of proving to the Gears community, because the Gears community is like 1 million strong minimum. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he's proven to them that he can make a Gears game. Okay. But now he wants to branch out. He gives the jackpot and all this other simple little things that, people can go and play the game anyway, even if they're not good at Gears itself. And he's kind of like, meshed the two together. This is what Judgment was supposed to be. You guys have to realize this. Judgment, Rod left before Judgment was released. If a lot of people don't realize. Okay, he was gone. And now it's like, oh man, should I even buy this game? That's the first thing I thought in my head. And that's the thing. Like, Rod has finally gotten his vision. I mean, you still have the core Gears players happy. You could still curb stomp people and everything else. You could chainsaw them, do whatever. You could use whatever weapon you want. But you're adding abilities that, like, stuff like in Destiny would have or something like that. I mean, he's bringing it all together, and he's going to make a game that you're going to sit there for the 100 hours and play the shit out of it. You might just like Horde and campaign, but guess what? You're still going to play it for 100 hours.
Dude, I mean, so many modes in this game. I think that is huge right there as well. Your campaign, your horde, your PvP, all the different PvP modes and stuff like that. This is a full game right here, brother.
Well, you get the AAA experience in the campaign from what I've seen already, and what I know that Rod is envisioning. You know what I mean? And I think you're gonna get some emotional parts. I mean, we all remember when Dom fucking ran into the fucking fuel tanks and blew himself up. I mean, I shed a fucking tear, dude. You know what I mean? So something big's gonna happen. That's why they've only released a certain amount. You know what I mean? But I think a little pushback from all of us in a logical sense. I said, okay, he's got to release something. And at this point, we're like, now we're like even more intrigued because they've released the exact amount you want to see. Like, yes, you can go and explore these giant maps, and I think it's Act 2 and Act 3 from what people are saying, is you can go and explore the sands and the ice, and you could just walk around if you wanted to and just look at the incredible graphical shit they've done with this game. And I think people are just going to be mind blown. You know what I mean? And I'm excited. I can't believe that, like...
Dude, we can definitely tell. Dude, I heard the enthusiasm as soon as I said your name, Crispy, and we were talking about Gears 5, man. Like, I heard the enthusiasm. You were ready to go in, brother. But
listen, I have known for a while that certain things were always going to happen, and that's because of people I play with and people that they may know that have worked on the game. They say, go with it. You know what I mean? I've thrown stuff that absolute bullshit that people have thrown out there on Twitter, in podcasts, saying just stuff that they have no clue about. And they're always like, I've been just talking to them in the Xbox Live Party chat or whatever, just playing the game, Gears 4. And they have said to me, like, look, I can tell you for a fact, this game is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And people have no clue because you are getting a great multiplayer experience and in multiple modes, and you're going to get a great campaign, and it's going to be almost unmatched. Because you could sit here and say God of War is great, but does it have a multiplayer that is AAA quality with 60 hertz servers?
Dude, you're not allowed to talk.
I don't care.
To talk bad.
I don't care
about God of War. Brother.
I don't care. Does it have anything like that though? Single player, great. Okay. What about the multiplayer? None.
I will say, shout out to Jay Slayer in the chat who says, he's not even a big Gears fan, but he is super excited for Gears 5. And, Jay, I will tell you, when it comes to Gears, I like the campaigns. I don't really get into the competitive PvP. I'll go into Horde mode with a bunch of friends and have a lot of fun. I am excited for this because I feel like what's going on here is that, Rod and the Coalition are completely fleshing out the Gears universe. And really establishing it. Like, Gears from the beginning, Gears 1, 2, 3, it had a story to tell and everything like that. But I think they're giving it, and I hate to say it like this, Crispy, please don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like they're giving it the Halo universe treatment, where they're fleshing everything out. They're adding
the universal. Actually, I agree with you. To be honest with you, because they're making you, like, he's already confirmed. I watched the panel today that Gears of War movie is moving along very nicely. Okay, so we're gonna see a universe involved like that. That's why they have multiple games coming out. Like they're going for it. You know what I mean? So that's what they're doing. And I mean, like we all say, hey, you got to play the game first. But from what I've seen, it is a totally different Gears game. And I think anybody could pick it up and play it, which attributes to Xbox Game Pass. I mean, it comes down to, he knows that there's going to be people that have never played Gears in their entire lives and just be like, oh, the hype around it. Oh, I got to try it. And now you could just be like, oh, I want to play the campaign. I want to see what it's all about. You could go in his Jackbot and do what you want. Or you could play solo and use Jackbot because he has stuff involved, just like the relic weapons and everything else. Like, you can go and pick this shit up. I mean, they've created almost like a style RPG in like a few like certain areas, but still give you that Gears cinematic feel at the same time. And it's just, I think it's a little bit of a hybrid. And I think it might actually like bode well for like people that have never played Gears, which is just amazing.
All right, I got you, brother. Now I'm going to let you take a breath real quick, and I'm going to let the other panel, everybody else on the panel kind of chime in, because then we're going to go into technically what they did to build this game. And, Don, I'm going to be leaning on you for a lot of this stuff, because I can't believe, it's hard for me to believe some of the things that they did on the technical side of this, going all the way down to the Xbox One S. But let's go to Predator. We haven't heard Predator in a while, man, and he has been in the chat. He threatened the Jeopardy music at one point in time. Pred, are you happy we switched topics, brother?
It's about fucking time.
All right. So what we haven't been together for 2 weeks. So, when it comes down to it, the Gears campaign trailer came out. Not only that, we've had, different medias come out with information about the campaign, about the game itself, talking about they really did make they're making they have made the biggest Gears to date. Dude, what do you think about this, man? Like all those concerns and stuff like that. Do you think they brought this all out at the right time? Do you see the hype for Gears out there right now?
So, real quick question before I even make my answer. So we're talking about that little small gift they had with their shooting at the ice and stuff, right?
Well, not only that, but Windows Central came out with their preview. There was another gaming media, I forget which one.
GameSpot, Games Radar, just not every one of them are praising it.
All of them were just talking about the game, but they weren't showing gameplay, right?
Well, because they got their hands on at Gamescom, and
they got an early preview.
Yeah.
Early preview articles is what they are.
But the only video we seen was that little.
Yeah.
No, there's more videos of that. I posted more than one.
But yeah, so it's the
outside of the media, outside of the outlets like Windows Central and stuff like that. But the only video we've seen has not been anything official from Microsoft. That's what I'm trying to get at. So
except for the campaign trailer.
Yeah, except for the campaign trailer, it was all fucking CGI. So my biggest issue with that is we got some gameplay, but it didn't come from Microsoft or it didn't come from official channels. But I still am excited about the gameplay that I saw. The fact of the matter is we should have seen that gameplay officially from Microsoft. I get that you have people playing the game and previewing and stuff like that. This is something everyone's not talking about. We're happy we got this gameplay. It was leaked or whatever it was, but it wasn't officially from Microsoft. And that's what should have happened in the first place. So that's my first issue with it. I did enjoy what I saw and what I'm hearing from everybody who's been playing it so far. I wasn't in any doubt that this game was going to look good. I don't think I personally have ever said anything bad about Gears going back to 4. I thought that looked great. And I thought what I've seen and played, and I'm not even a huge Gears guy, to be honest with you. But what I played in the multiplayer that I played, I loved it. So I was looking excited I'm still excited about seeing the story and what's going to happen throughout the gameplay of the actual game itself, the single player portion of it. So I'm excited about that. I just wish that Microsoft would have done something official instead of having it, someone leak something like
they're letting other people speak for themselves.
Well, it's not really leaks; they're articles, and somebody put
together.
No.
I'm talking about physical. Like you're looking at fucking gameplay, not somebody.
Oh, come on, bro!
I want to see gameplay, and that's
they don't need it. The Xbox Game Pass makes it that they don't need it. They don't want to ruin it for people because there's going to be something at the end.
Remember what you saw?
What happened?
Could have done that themselves. They could have done that gameplay themselves. Someone else. Someone said you're not
they're letting
the
social media do what the gaming media was supposed to do.
It was a fucking leak.
Just let Prayer be mad.
Yeah, no,
let Prayer finish. Let Prayer finish.
It wasn't an official gameplay from Microsoft, and that's the whole point I'm trying to get at. You guys understand? Oh well, it's they're letting the media. No, Microsoft needs to do this shit, and that's the problem with their fucking marketing this whole generation. They should have done this shit themselves. Period. But you know what? We got it, and the thing is, what we got, even though it was leaked, we're still excited about it. And you can sit here and say, I didn't want to get ruined or spoiled. The shit you saw didn't spoil shit, so that's bullshit. That's a bullshit ass excuse. They should have did this shit before.
I was a little disappointed seeing that whole ice thing, man. I would have loved to figure that out in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, but you're gonna expose a little bit of something. But again, it was a leak. Now, if Microsoft would have sat down and taken their time to put together some footage that wouldn't have spoiled anything, that'd have been different. They didn't do that. So
we all can't say that they didn't sign clauses when they went in there. They were allowed to release certain things. And
I'm
this
sure
is
they
what
weren't
were
allowed to
release.
release any gameplay video. I don't even think they probably were even allowed to record anything because again, like the NDA probably doesn't lift for a couple of weeks. But again, if they're gonna put people under that NDA, they know that we've been asking for gameplay footage for fucking what since E3, and they give us some bullshit ass CGI trailer. So like, what we saw is
That was
exactly
not. They said it flat out. That was in game.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
let him let him
the
finish.
CGI stuff we saw. Dude, look at the
Please
fucking
let him
thing.
finish.
It's all
Come on to the
CGI.
next
There's no gameplay. If you see any gameplay, it's like 2 seconds. Really? Look at the shit. I looked at it while we were fucking arguing about this shit 3 weeks ago. It's all CGI. The gameplay we saw on that leaked gift that we saw, that's gameplay. Period. So they should have did that shit before. I'm not saying I'm disappointed, but I'm like, I'm glad we saw it because now it's bringing up hype. Everyone's excited about it now. All the shit, the questions that people were asking before that are answered now because
I think all the articles. I think all the articles more than anything are what that's what's creating the hype more than that little gif.
I haven't read one single fucking article. I guarantee I've not seen one single. I've not read.
But people on Twitter have been quoting them like crazy though.
I've seen people retweeting some stuff and saying some things like they're excited about the
game.
Quoting
the articles.
I have not read any articles. I've only seen what I've seen on Twitter.
Well, I mean, if you want, you can look at the pictures, but I mean,
again, I'm not disappointed in what I saw. So let's make
no, there's basically 5 or 6 early previews out there, Pred. I would say Jez probably has done the best out of all of them out there. Check out his stuff on Windows Central on that.
Yeah, definitely. To see their kind of like deep dive with how they made the game was absolutely incredible, and it was because of Windows Central and Jez's article that I was able to see all that. But Don, what do you think about what we've seen so far? Now, I have already gone on record. I feel it was a great idea to change their strategy and to put out the campaign trailer. Now, I feel like that should have been at E3. That should have been the main thing up on stage at E3, besides like the new mode that they're doing in the game. But seeing it, hearing a classic rock song, exactly what they usually do with Gears. It got my hype going. Like I'm like, man, I can't wait to get in on this campaign and see exactly what is going down with Kate. But what do you think about what they've shown so far? And do you see the Gears hype out there like growing like I do?
Yeah, I do see it growing. But I do agree. I think everyone's probably on the same boat. I think maybe Mega has a different perspective on this, but I really wanted to see the gameplay at E3. I have this rule, and this rule applies to any game on any platform. When you first show me a game, you can show me like in-engine cutscenes, which is what a lot of the stuff that Pred's complaining about is in-engine cutscenes. And then the other portion of it is, or CG trailers. I hate CG trailers. I prefer not to see that. But if you're going to do that, that's when you announce the game, what the game is, right? And then the year 2, I want to see gameplay. And I think that's a basic lesson to learn for anybody that's a publisher is people buy these consoles because they want to see what the hell they do, right? So the only way you'll be able to see that is you provide them gameplay. Gameplay is king this close to launch. And a lot of people weren't happy with how they handle it. And I like Rod. I pretty much almost agree. I think Rod, if you look at anybody in the industry, I probably look up to, Rod's one of those people. But this is a time when Rod got it wrong. I think, he should have showed the gameplay at E3 if he was in charge of that. Now, I thought he got it right when they did the announcement trailer the year before, when they were showing the Gears pop and all that sort of stuff, and he kind of trolled the audience. And that's a perfect example where I think he's gotten it right. Because, what he did is he covered all his bases there. Because if they just showed Gears pop in some sort of isolated, Xbox show, right? And then people would have asked, well, where the hell's the real Gears, right? So since he kind of bundled them all together, one after the other, had a little fun with it. I think that was a great way of doing it. So, it's just one of those things. I think it's a lesson learned, and I'm glad they showed it sooner and instead of later. I'm with Pred where I probably would have preferred less of the cutscenes from the game and more actual gameplay. But the same token, I'm at a catch-22 because I don't want the game to be spoiled. I was almost, because I was going to get Gears anyways. I'm a huge Gears fan. I'm more of a Gears fan than I am Halo. And Bot knows how much I play Halo. So realistically, I really wanted to leave it a surprise because that's what the Gears 1 was like that for me. I personally saw a couple of like articles that show some like still shots. I'm like, I got to play this game on the 360. And I had no idea.
Dude, Gears 1. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I had no idea what it was about.
It was in a gaming magazine. I saw like, that was the first time hearing like Unreal Engine and what it can do. And I'm looking at those pictures. I'm like, oh, this is gonna look incredible.
Yeah, and I remember when I first played through that game, I had that jaw-dropping moment. And it's funny, real story. Like I almost quit the dream of being a developer because of that game because it was so good, and I'm like, I can't keep up with what these guys are doing. And obviously things have changed and I've learned and the tools have changed. And so obviously I can keep up with that sort of stuff. But, that's a huge influential game for me and all because it was a surprise. So I kind of wanted to mimic that experience with Gears 5 and keep it to a bare minimum. So I was really torn. I think less is always more though. When you do show things, you can overshow things. And I think that is something they didn't do because everyone wants to see more of the game now. They've done exactly what they needed to do where people are just like, I want to know more. I want to see more versus maybe showing a little too much where people are like, they start getting dismissive sometimes. So
yeah, it's definitely a fine line. And I feel me personally, when it came to the campaign trailer and, people like my buddy Mooch, shout out to the Mooch out there, was talking about he wanted to see the openness in the gameplay when it came to like the skiff going from place to place. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I saw that in, kind of like the original announcement trailer. And I believe I saw it again. Yeah, I saw it again in the campaign trailer. So I'm like, I know that's there and I know I'm going to be able to do it. So I'm good.
It's a catch-22, right? Because do you ruin that experience, that awe moment, what developers live for, right? To entertain an audience.
Brother, I would have flipped out as soon as I figured out I can shoot the ice below the swarm.
Exactly. I'm kind of bummed that ice thing leaked too as well. So like I'm really torn on stuff. I want things to be a surprise. I want to have a good time. Yes, I want to know more of the game. Yes, but I want to deal with the controller in my hand. And when me and Meg are doing the live stream and forcing Blades to be the robot, right? I mean that's when we want to discover those things and have a good time and see those first reactions for the first time. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited they showed something. So
I think they did it perfectly. I really do. I think they did it exactly the way they need to.
It is a change of strategy though, because they weren't going to show the campaign until the day of the early release.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, people are gonna have different views on it, but I don't.
I don't understand their reasoning.
I don't think that was the. You basically you have a bunch of expectation, which is a realistic expectation, not an unrealistic expectation. Gamers were wanting to see the campaign, and that expectation wasn't met. And
I mean, we have to say, Gamescom. I mean, Gears 5 stole the show. I mean, we could sit here and bullshit. Like you could say, PS fucking right after that, Insomniac. But it's the fact is that everybody looks at it says what really intrigued me about Gamescom, was Gears 5. Like even the Horde mode, like with the abilities and stuff. This goes against Gears players, but they put it in the right mode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They really selected where they're going to, like, we don't have abilities when we go play versus. Like, when I go play Team Deathmatch, I don't have those fucking, those things that are going on. Like, you got an ability
shoot
all
through
the
wall. You can't throw a decoy out there.
I understand the whole blitz marketing, and I'm okay with that. But the campaign still could have been shown earlier, and then they could have pieced it out with the additional
I
modes.
mean, they could have shown the
Yeah.
trailer. I agree with you. They
We
could
could have
have.
done it any way they wanted to, right? I mean, we all know that, but like that's what I would have preferred. And I'm not saying this as like I hate them or anything like that, or it's just I think it's if you look at the general populace, and there are people that are just trolling. We know that does exist, right? But we also have people that are genuinely they're fans of the project and they want to see the game, and I think that's pretty reasonable. I think that was an expectation that customers had that were pretty reasonable, and it wasn't met until right before launch. And I'm the type of person, me and Bot argue about this all the time. I'm a big fan of showing things later than too far out, and this is a situation where this was a little too later for me. Right? That's the way I look at it. It was just a little too late. Because I get what they're trying to do. They're trying what they call blitz. I call it blitz marketing, where they're basically they're reducing that hate time that their products get, regardless if people think it's justified or not. But it does get a lot of hate for a period of time, and that wears on the product. And what they're trying to do is avoid that, and then build all the hype in one little area. And
then the release is like right there.
Right there. Yeah, exactly. You're not hyped and, made starving for like another 8 months or something like that. Right. Or another year and a half. It's right there. And so I do like the shorter pushed out, but I just don't like it this close.
It was too short. It was too short.
It's a little too close to the sun for me, I guess is what I'm saying. So
nice. Now, K Mega, you have sat back. You have let everybody express themselves.
Yeah, I did.
It is your turn, brother.
Hold on, let me go ahead and pour a little bit in this cup. Let me pour the rest of this in this cup.
Dude,
right?
yo, when you hear K Mega get so quiet for so long, he's got something to say on the topic.
Tekken, man. Don't.
No. I'm on Tekken, but I stopped playing Tekken because I wanted to be full engaged on this. I'm full engaged.
He coming at you, Cred.
I'm not coming after nobody. I respect everybody's opinion on this, but this is where you're wrong.
You just mooched him, man.
I did, but this is where Don and Pred is completely wrong. I respect it, but I get it, but we have forgotten so much about how this generation has gone for Xbox, especially with their advertising. When they've shown, and I've said this, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago on Next. I've definitely said this on GRG, is that how the perception of how Xbox shows their games is like Don just said. There are trolls out there that are going to demean and try to destroy any type of hype for that game or whatever that they show at that moment. And then on top of that, Sony waits until the opportune time to show whatever that they have in the middle of when any Xbox fans are excited about anything, to get that fan base excited on the PlayStation side to go and troll or to say, hey, this is why PlayStation is number one. Yeah, it would have been, the logical sense of it, show what you had at E3. But if you showed the story at E3, by the time that it got here to September, it would have already been shot down, shitted on, talked about, and then Pred would have been saying something. You know what? I wish they would have did something different.
No, I'm gonna stop you there because Sony did that shit anyway.
No,
regardless of what Microsoft showed, they did that shit anyway.
Okay, all right, that's cool. You can stop me there, but I'm gonna keep on going because I know what I know.
Well, yo.
I know this panel.
K Mega, before you keep on going, I see what you're saying there, because when the tech test came out, what did somebody do? They overly blurred a screenshot and put it out there and tried to say, this is the game you like? This is what you enjoy playing?
This is your king. I've seen this. This is exactly what they've been doing.
But you know what I did? As soon as I saw that shit, I posted a real screenshot.
I know, Pred. But this is the thing, though, right here. and hold on, this is something that you are completely wrong on. Now look, the QLED don't lie. You know what I'm saying? My computer screen will lie to me, my phone will lie to me, but my QLED will not lie to me. When I saw that, you know, and I remember a couple of weeks ago when we was watching that on your channel bot where and I said, man, I'm not digging that rock song, man. I'm like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Lady Mega was.
Yeah. Miss Mega, she was all about it. I didn't even know that she used to be a rocker. Like, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And because when the song was playing, she was rocking her head, and I was like, what are you doing? She's like, that's 9 Inch Nails. I said, what the fuck is that? And then she was like, yes, and then she was singing a song. I was like, what? And then anyway, regardless of that, right? I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you turn into Becky. Get the fuck out of here. But other than that, I was like, so I was like, what's going on here, right? But I was watching it on my TV at the time. On my phone, I was like, oh man, it looks really cool. But no, the QLED did not lie. That is in-game engine, Jack. That game looks insane. And when I was playing it as well, with the tech test and everything, I couldn't compliment that game enough of how pretty it was before launch. Like, it wasn't like it was with Gears 4 when everybody was knocking it because it was 720p or whatever the hell it was at that time. I'm like, you can see the scale and the slime on the scale of the swarm. Like, damn, bro,
wait. Are you saying that the campaign version that you saw, the footage they showed,
that's in game, bro? That's not CG. That's not CG. That's in game.
That wasn't gameplay, bro. That was either
he's saying gameplay.
Cutscene.
That's a cutscene, but that's
I'm
not
talking
CG.
about cutscene. I want to see a CG cutscene. I don't want to see gameplay.
But when they were showing and when they were shooting at the creature that was coming out the ground, and then when Cole sit there and punch it, that's all in game, Jack. That's not CG. That's not
at
like
shit again.
Look at that, man.
That's in game, dude. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, how many times people freaking talk about the Gears 5 trailer on E3 ago. Mm-hmm. Okay, they talk about how great it looks. Well, guess what? That's fucking in game, dude. All right.
No, that's
so I'm just saying.
You really don't lie, bro. I actually know now the truth. Like, I'm like, what?
Whoa. He's like, I know the truth, man. You getting biblical on people right now, man.
And this is the thing that was really crazy is because the more I watched that trailer about maybe 40 times. Like, when I like a trailer, like the Need for Speed trailer, I can't get enough of that damn Need for Speed trailer. I love it. I'm over here, don't. And when that white chick is dancing and shit, the dude's taking a picture, I'm like, that shit is dope. But anyway, regardless, I'm like, but that's CG. That part right there is CG. What Gears is showing is absolute in game, and that is amazing.
But what Pred's saying, yeah, it is in game, but it's an in-game cutscene, and he wanted to see, like, the characters taking cover and shoot. He wanted to see more, like, kind of like,
yeah, but then
described gameplay.
This is why that Gears. This is the point this is the main point why I was going to say that I was excited to say that nobody else was going to say, right? I asked this question a couple of years ago when Halo 5 came out, and then when Gears 4 came out, I guess a year or so afterwards, year or two later afterwards. And I was like, man, is this the opportunity to where Gears can overtake Halo? And so to the point to where it's not Halo Gears, but it's Gears Halo.
You slow your roll, brother. You slow your roll.
Listen to
I like it, K-Mega.
You slow.
I like it. I like it.
Listen to me. You know, hey, in Spartan Lock we trust. That's always going to be the facts, right? But the way that this Gears story is forming, Livewire has been going. He's read the book that's leading up to the story, to what's going on with this, and he says everything is making sense now. Oh my God. And so he's kind of breaking it down, but he don't want to spoil it for us. But he's like, man, this Gears is going to be out of this world for how they're projecting. He's like, I kind of already see what's going on. So if you read
so K-Mega, you agree with me then that they're giving Gears kind of like the Halo universe treatment. They're fleshing
There you
everything
go.
out.
Perfect. Actually, yes. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the point. If they are actually making it an equal, while Halo itself is going to a whole nother plateau. That's what's going on. Like they're kind of relenting and saying, kind of like, look, man, Gears won this generation. This is Gears generation. Because after this, nobody's going to talk about Halo 5 as being and you know how much I love Halo 5, but Halo 5 is not going to be in the same criteria as what Gears was this generation or Forza in that degree. It's the time to where the big three are the actual huge big three. And then with the next generation, Halo is going to take it to a next level. And then we're going to see the new Fable, which is going to be right there. And it's going to be a big 4, big 5 with whatever they're going to do with
Hold on, K-Mega, did you say Gears won this generation? Because Joseph in the chat said you high.
No. Gears won this generation, bro. Okay. This game has more. Look, I got so much flack for telling the truth. and not being a fanboy, but telling the truth. Gears has the better value than any PlayStation game that's out right now.
I can't disagree, K-Mega, because I got 1,200 hours in Gears 4. Listen, and Gears 4 reinvigorated Xbox One for a moment of time.
Thank you for $79 if you bought the game outright, right?
Or are you saying $79 a month you can own Gears? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, for $80 for if you just bought Gears outright, the Ultimate Edition, or if you Game Passed it. What game that PlayStation has given this generation that's on par for what Gears is giving you this generation? What is PlayStation giving you? You got God of War. That's a beautiful game, fantastic game. It's great. Spider-Man, great, fantastic game. Is that DLC anywhere in that same stratosphere?
Spider-Man had DLC. We'll put that out there.
No, he's saying that it had DLC.
I just said that. Horizon Zero Dawn had DLC, but you still had to pay more than what you're paying for Gears, and especially if you got Game Pass, you'll even win it even more.
And Gears 5 doesn't have any loot boxes, people.
And it doesn't have loot boxes, and you get so many more shit, right? Like I know that like the PlayStation fans hate me saying this, but this is the truth. Like you got all these modes for Gears, right? You got Horde mode, you got escape mode, you got regular multiplayer, then you got the arcade, then you got the story mode that's giving you, if you just run through it, speed run, you'll get it done in 10 to 12 hours. If you take your time like I do, you're going to get it done from 27 to 30 hours. There's PlayStation games that don't even, like, I thought Spider-Man, I haven't beat Spider-Man yet. I got Spider-Man, but the people that beat Spider-Man say Spider-Man is from 12 to 20 max. Like, we'll even add, like.
And that's all you get. That's all you get.
That's 25 with the DLC. Let's go ahead and say 25 with the DLC. So you're telling me that Gears, a game that is mostly synonymous for its multiplayer for some people, it's mostly synonymous for its single player for other people. It gives you 12 to 30 hours of, just 27 of gameplay for the single player, and then you're going to get hundreds of hours.
Mega, just pick a number.
Player,
pick a number and go with it. Just pick one.
No, I'm not picking one. I'm just making this. I'm just being logical about it. There ain't being funny about it. It's being the truth. Gears is giving way more for its bang for buck than any other game that's over there on the PlayStation. I'm just saying. And regardless, on top of that, this game could be potentially. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm just going by what I've seen. We haven't seen the game up close in its entirety. But it could be the best game to date, best looking game to date with ray tracing. Are you fucking kidding me? This game is amazing. And if it's not a contender, or I should say a nominee for Game of the Year, it's a tragedy. I'm not trying to take away from Death Stranding. I'm not trying to take
Jeff Keighley fucked that up already.
I'm not trying to take that away from all the rest of the games that's out there. But if they skip on Gears just because, and this game and this story is absolutely on par, and it's already generated the hype that it has on top of with all the value that it gives gamers, that's a fucking tragedy. You can call me a fanboy or anything else, but if PlayStation did this, I would be right there to say, look, this game gives more value than what anything Xbox gives. I'm just being real with it. So, hey, man, in Gears we trust. They've won it. They've won it. They've overtaken Halo this generation.
Whoa, bro.
Halo is taking
He sounds like a Browns fan.
That's what he said.
He's dropping the mic, man. He's walking away. That's the way it goes.
I'm walking away from it, man. Look, anybody over here down, for all these fools that's down Gears, and now they're trying to say, you know what? I'm really happy that Gears is looking up to par. I always knew that the devs were going to do what they were going to do. Shut the fuck up. You lied. You're a liar. That's the point. The point of the matter is that you damage controlled, you guys out there damage controlled, you went after this game, you talked bad of it, and Microsoft did the rope-a-dope, and I loved it because I love this new strategy that they did. That's why I said it worked, because they showed escape, and they were like, something was wrong. Something ain't right. They ain't got something right with the single player. Something is I'm fearing what's happening. And then what happened? They sit there and they threw that 9-inch nails on your ass, and then they dropped that trailer, and then next thing you know, everybody's singing that shit. And now you see these leaks going over everywhere. It's over, man. Man, man. Set. I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Well, guys, check this out. We were gonna go into like what technically what went under the hood with building Gears 5. Now, Don, unfortunately, I don't think we're going at 9:30. It is Saturday night. Gamers got a game, man. I think we gotta get ready and wrap this stuff up.
Down to the serve.
So Don, maybe we can schedule something during the week where we can go in and really talk about the information that came out on how this game was created, because I think it's fascinating, and I think people would really love to hear kind of like, with your understanding, you break it down for us laymen who don't develop games, and because from what I'm seeing, it looks like, man, it's absolutely incredible what they did with this thing.
She said we're going to have to kill it. Come on now.
We're gonna I thought
kill it.
And we gotta kill it. Now we got to kill it.
All right, well, but stop putting me on a soapbox, and we can close this up, man.
All right, let's do this. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. Next podcast is back better than ever. When it comes to what you're gonna see from this show in the future, I want to get you guys more immersed in the topics that we are going to talk about from a week-to-week standpoint. So you are going to see some changes visually to what's going on with next podcast. We are going to do deep dives into whatever articles came out about what topics and stuff like that, gameplay, everything. You're going to get an overall gaming podcast experience from us. That is what I am going to be working on a week-to-week basis and basically tweaking it out. I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. I think it was it's another classic, man. We just keep stepping up, raising the bar one notch each and every week. We had 2 weeks off. It is great to come back and to be able to do a show for you guys again. Thank you so much. As usual, if you haven't done it yet, definitely hit that thumbs up button. But like a 40-year-old with a comb over, we gotta get those plugs in. And I am going to start with the man who might have lost his voice after talking about Gears. But we're going to start with K Mega. Mega, as usual, you do not disappoint, man. You put your opinions out there no matter what's going on. You know what to do, man. You got to let people know about GRG, about your YouTube channel, what you're doing with it, this coming week, and where people can go to talk games with you, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Man, check out the GRG podcast, man. We had a great show last night. As usual, man, we have fun. We just do it. I did a disclaimer to make sure, and that's in any podcast that I do in the future, I will make sure that we will not uh have any if like, let's say for instance, because the bot shows gameplay or something, but we will not talk about other men while we have men on the panel. That's the thing. Like, we will not talk about how a man looks, their appearance, or have men's pictures in the background while we're doing that. We're a podcast that talks about gaming. We have a good time. That's what we
Nice.
do. We do that here. We do that there at GRG. We're here to have a good time. We talk about gaming. So that disclaimer is not only at GRG, but it's here as well, because we're not about the bullshit. We're about talking about gaming and having a good time. But other than that, man, come check out the channel, man. Go sub everybody that's here on the panel. Go sub to everybody that's part of GRG. I have a Discord. Come over there to Discord. You can go on my channel. It's right there, or on Twitter. I have the link in that description as well. Man, get the party live, man. I need people up in there, man. Go ahead, start talking, having a conversation, man. Get it started, man. Because I've been had it for a while, and it's kind of just sitting there. It needs to have people in there to have good discussion. So go ahead and do that. And man, thank you guys as always, man. See y'all next Saturday.
Nice, man. Yeah, it definitely felt good to get in on a Saturday night again, man. 2 weeks off, and we came back like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't skip a beat, brother.
No doubt. We just do it. Have a good time.
All right, and next on the list, man, we got to go to the Don here. Don, it is always good to have you back on the show. You're one of the founding fathers of the next podcast, and
don't say I'm a father or something.
Well, dude, yeah, I might have just jinxed you. You never know, brother. But dude, we didn't get to go in on the technical side of Gears, but hopefully, we can come back maybe sometime during the week.
You know how we can fix that, right?
How?
Have you guest star on the Game and Endeavor? The Dev?
Game and the Dever. Let's do that.
Game and Endeavor on K Mega channel.
Game and the Dever. Is that what that is? Is that what we call it now?
I like it.
Oh wow.
But yeah, just let me know when you guys are going are getting in, man. And
you'd be our first guest. It'd be good.
Dude, I've been on it before. What are you talking about?
When have you been on it?
Yeah, he been on
Crackdown.
He first started. Yeah, when we were doing Crackdown. Yeah, he was our first guest and only guest on.
Okay. Okay. So we need to make it the game, the Dever, and the casual.
Oh, I can do that. I can. That's exactly what we'll name it.
Yo, okay. Why you gotta call K Mega casual though? Man?
I don't know.
Yeah, I show gameplay. I show gameplay. You don't.
Oh, there's gameplay in here, brother. The only one that counts. My own.
He's scraping paint when he plays games, but yeah, he's getting played.
Oh man, he's painting his fingernails when he's over there playing games.
Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, going south. And the one thing we got to advertise, me, Mega, and Blades, if he doesn't fly away in a hurricane,
right?
We're going to be streaming Gears live after next podcast next week. So tune in for that. Definitely, sub to our Mixer channels and all that good stuff. Usually you can follow that on both, I believe, Mega's Twitter handle and mine. I don't know what Blaze is doing as far as all that stuff goes, but definitely follow us. I'm almost to partner. I have a couple thousand more to get there, but I'm almost there. So.
I love when you do that, man. It's so dude, you got to be optimistic. Like, I'm almost a partner. Couple thousand more. Let's do this,
day, man. That's how it works, right? But yeah, they come join us. You guys can be a fly on the wall. People find it entertaining when me and Mega game together for some reason. So it'll be a good time. We're going to watch Gears for the first time with us. So
nice. And I will suggest when you go and check out the live stream between K Mega and Don, just have a nice bowl of potato salad with you. And it's a good night in. It's a good night in. You got K Mega, you got the Don, you got a bowl of potato salad, you got gameplay going on live, man.
Hey man, if you're gonna eat that potato salad, make sure you have hot sauce.
Yeah, definitely, brother.
You gotta do that, right? So
we gotta have some spiciness.
All right, and next on the list, man, I'm gonna go to Predator. Pred, as usual, man. Again, not afraid to share your opinions. Tell people exactly what you thought. As one of the main reasons why, man, I was so happy when you decided that you were going to stay on with us on next podcast. You know the drill. You gotta let people know where they can go to talk games with you, and if you are gonna be a guest on any shows this coming week, man.
Predator, Space H2OS on Twitter, MySpace, Friendster. I got a bone to pick with you. Why is my name still jacked up here in the description? I mean, you're gonna talk about that later. Make sure
Uh-oh.
y'all. Yeah, it's been like that forever.
I was gonna say I don't think I've touched the description. I don't know how long, brother.
Yeah, it's spelled good and stuff, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know that.
Don can tell you about my history with the description, by the way.
I can't.
I'll see y'all next week.
Nice, bro. And last but certainly not least, one of the newest members of the Next Podcast family, and I swear every single time he does a show with us, he just keeps getting better. My brother, Crispy Bomb, man. I know you stream on Mixer, so you need to let people know about your channel there, and of course where they can go and talk games with you, bro.
I think we're gonna have a CCC real soon. I hope. I mean, I did throw it out there that when Gears comes out, we're gonna have a CCC. But
oh damn, did you throw it out there without talking to the creator of CCC?
you know, I talked to her a long time ago, and I said when we were going on hiatus, we better have a freaking CCC before Gears, or around Gears at least. And she said yes. So let's
I was
see
like,
what happens.
you gave an ultimatum to the creator.
I don't know. She, you know, your wifey's got a new job now, so I know it's a little different now. But in realism, it's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28, Mixer, Xbox Live. Hit me up. I will gladly show you how to play Gears. You know, not necessarily. There's a lot of people that don't know how to play Gears. Okay, I will gladly go out there and go out of my way. I will sit in a private match and let you kill me. That's the type of person I am. Because once you learn how to play the game, you are going to be enveloped. And Gears 5 is going to be fire. If you haven't bought it, if you just want to play the campaign, go out, get Game Pass, get whatever you got to do, play this game. This game is going to be ridiculous. Okay, it's going to blow your mind. You're going to get involved in it, and I can almost guarantee it. Unless you're completely like one lane, I'm doing what I'm doing. You are going to love this game, and that's all I got to say.
We need to get a hold of Mr. Rod Ferguson. This guy needs a job with Coalition, man. I swear.
Everybody keeps saying I'm an Xbox. No, I love Gears. If Gears is on PlayStation, I still love Gears.
He's a Gears
That's what
head.
it comes down to.
He's a Gears
I
head,
love
people.
Gears.
The Gears head.
Yeah. On that note, guys, thank you so much again for hanging out with us. Like I said before, if you haven't done it yet, hit that thumbs up button. Thank you guys for all the support.
Did Prayer get his sign out?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was so forgettable. I didn't know.
You got too many shots in there, brother. You kicking back that tequila, man. No, I got everybody, dude.
Go, bro. Come on.
I haven't missed anybody since Knox. You know, like,
oh my goodness! I just had to do it. I had to do it. I had to get him.
But again, thank you guys for all the support. Next podcast is back. Check us here on this channel every Saturday, 7 p.m. You got friends who are gamers. They're looking for a gaming news podcast where we go in and we talk about the news. We share our opinions, stuff like that. Let them know about this show. I can see this show going so far in the gaming community, and it's all thanks to you guys in the chat and everybody who checks out the show, you know, after it's live, because not everybody can come in on a Saturday night. So thank you guys for all the support, but the gamers got a game. We got to get the controllers in our hands. So I am going to end the show the way I do basically every week. We will see you guys next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Laters.
Nothing perverted this time?
What do you mean?
No, not.
Well,
No, okay. Yeah, I ended it.